Okay, let me start recording. Hello, everyone. And I'd like to welcome you to this video for m1t1 and a little bit of a tour around GitHub. So I've logged into GitHub and I can see that I am logged in as myself. And I am going to make a new repository for this class. And if you've already done this, fantastic, but I wanted to walk you through every step of the first day. Now, it's very important that we use GitHub Codespaces because this tool is built into the GitHub website, so you don't have to install a compiler or an editor. You certainly can use VS Code, and I will show you how to set that up on your home machine. But to start with, we want to do it like this. I'm going to call mine course csc134 and then 26FA. So you might just call your course csc134. That would be totally fine. That is up to you. But I have a bunch of them, so I'm going to say csc134, C++ programming, and that would be fall 2026. Okay, you want to leave your repository public because you're going to be publishing your work to me in this repository. No template. You must add a README. So if you don't click the switch, the rest of the video won't work. And if you email me, I'll say, did you click the switch? Not to be a hard time, but just trust me, it's going to save you some time. So click this on, and for git ignore, I want to pick C++ if it's listed. There we go. Fantastic. All this is going to do is ensure that a bunch of extra files we don't actually need don't get saved. And no license for right now. And we're not going to tell the bot what to start with because we want to start with an empty repository. So what I've done now is create a GitHub code repository that stores my work for this class. Okay? And I can do things like add file, create a new file, upload files. That is certainly a way you can work, but I want to show you how codespaces work. So again, if you need to, pause the video, back it up, watch what I'm doing. So here within my repository, I can just click the top of my repository, and I'm at the top, and I can see my README here. I'm going to click Code, Codespaces, Create Codespace on main. And if I already had one, I would probably add it. But generally, you're going to make a new codespace. A codespace is a dev container, which is a fancy way of saying it's a Linux server or a little part of a Linux server that lets you use a dev environment. This is kind of like if you go to an office and they give you a cube for the day and you use your laptop and you plug in, and then when you're done, you leave. Right? So this is a little temporary office for us to work on our work. First thing I want to do is close the agent because that is a whole bunch of screen real estate I want back. And I'm going to let everything load. And it's saying here, do you trust yourself? And I'm going to say, yes, I trust this folder that I made. If you don't trust it, you won't be able to do anything. So it's pretty good to do that. Okay. So now I'm going to go over here, and I could make a new file or a new folder. I'm going to, for now, make a new file. I'm going to call it m1, do that again, m1t1. And I'm going to put my last name. So you put your last name. Don't put my last name. And it's going to make that file. And in a moment, I should see it on the left. There we go. Fantastic. So here is my new file. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for you guys so you can see better on my screen. Good. Okay. And I'm working off an example here, so I'm going to check my example real quick just to see where I am. Good. Fantastic. Okay. I'm going to write some comments. So this was a / and an asterisk, and it automatically wrote the second half. So I'm going to say m1t1 hello world. Our first program exists to make sure we can talk to the user. Right, we will use. All right, so it's already seen I have a C++ file, so it's saying, do you want to install the C++ extension pack? That's great, so I'm going to do that. Okay. I could have gone and searched it up and said install the C++ pack, but as soon as you start working on a C++ file, it's going to start doing that. I'm going to close that window now because it's installing for me. We will use cout to print to the window. Okay, so we're going to learn a couple of things here, and I'll say input none, processing none, output the user's name. Cool. User's name as a greeting. So all this program does is, this little header is saying what I want the program to do. And then I'm done when it does what this says. Okay, so food stream and using namespace standard. I will put a little note here to say magic words we will explain later. This is how you activate some of the common libraries. Okay, so program returns an int number 0 if everything worked. Okay, I'll say int main. No errors. Great. Okay, so now I've got a program that does nothing, and because my extension installed, I'm going to go back over here and I can see my files. Right, so I can, whoop, don't mind that. I can navigate between my files over here. I can push this run button here, which will run this program. So anything that's grayed like this in the comments is going to be ignored. This is for humans to read. Same thing with these forward slashes, but these other lines are C++ code. And we're going to say, yep, we'll pick the top option, sounds great. And it is going to scan, it's going to take this file, it's going to compile it into a executable which has no extension, and it's going to run it. So the first time it runs it, it goes to the debug console. I want to click on terminal to see what it actually did. So this is all it did. It just said done. But how do I know it was me? Well, you know, GDB, that's the debugger, so we ran that. So let's now have a nice message. So I'm going to say cout, which is character out or you know, characters out. Hello world. And then end L. Actually, I'll do this. I'll do hello world like that. I'll say cout end L. Okay, and that is a new line. So now I'm going to run the program again, and I should see this time it's going to stay on the terminal, and it says hello world, and it's done. Pretty cool. Okay, so that is the first program, and to not throw you off too much, I want to save our work, and anything else we do will be in the next video. So you ran it here by pushing this button, right? You can run it. But now over on this side, I want to point out some things. So here's my menu. So I got my menu here. I have my file explorer that I can turn on or off. I can search for stuff. I can do source control. I've got extensions. I can install all kinds of things. But what I want to point to is this tree here. This is source control. Okay. You cannot leave this blank. So you can push the sparkles to get Copilot to give you a message. But what you want to say here is finished m1t1, right? So the program works. So I want to commit it. So your screen might look a little different. I'm going to hit commit, and your machine will probably say, do you want to stage these changes? And you want to stage all changes. So if you get a pop-up that says, do you want to stage changes? Pick yes or stage all right after this, okay? So I didn't have it pop up, so it just gave me sync. And so I'm going to press sync, and yours again may say, do you want to synchronize? You're going to say yes to all or yes always. And now what's happened is my code's been committed. Okay? So it doesn't look any different here, but if I go back to my repository and I refresh it, notice what happens. I wait for it to load, and hopefully the internet's going to behave today. There we go, cool. So here's my program. So, well, I have this file here, but the CPP file is the one that I want. This is the source code. Okay, so this other file here is the executable. You can't read it. It's just binary data. I can kind of show you, like, if you want to look at it, there's nothing really to see. But the source code you can always read. So I now look, my assignment's m1t1, so I take this right here, I copy this URL. Okay, what's the first thing I do? I put it in a different window and I paste it to make sure it works. Okay, because if this is a code space and it says .dev, it's not going to work. So we went back to the main site, navigated into the page. In this case, I went here and went to my file, and I can see this is my file, so I copy this link up here and I pasted it to make sure it worked. So now what I would do is I would go into Canvas, and let me show you the student view on this assignment. I would have to finish that, never mind, right? So what will happen for you, because you've done the course entry quiz, is it's going to give you a little spot at the bottom where you can paste in that URL, and you're going to press submit, and you're going to see confetti. If you see confetti, your assignment's been submitted. All right, so what did we cover today? We covered quite a few things. So we looked at how to get into our repo, how to get into a code space to edit it, how to set that up, and then how to get it all back out. That usually takes about a half hour in class. So first of all, if you watch this once and you're confused, that's natural. I'm happy to go over it again with you. But I wanted to, at least for now, make sure that we had this explanation in all the early videos. All right, thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon.